Here we go. Fear Street Part 3, 1666. The one that wraps it all up. Before we get started, I actually just mentioned that previously I referred to Leigh Janiak as the director as he.
Yes.
Because when we looked into this, I've never heard of her, and took a glimpse at IMDb to see what this director has done before, and there was no picture.
Yes.
So I don't know if they were updating it at the very time that I was looking at it. So
And also,
the assumption was it's a man.
yeah, but Lee also, and the spelling of
It's
Lee.
like Leigh Janiak has done Saw and Insidious.
That's right.
To me, that's like a male Lee.
Yeah.
But it's interesting. We all know that it's a very, very male-dominated thing.
Unfortunately, still.
Very few female directors, and even more so in the horror genre, I would think. Although there are quite a few. But yeah, just before anyone flips their nut, yes, we made a mistake, but it's fine. Leigh Janiak is still the same person, but it happens to be a woman, and she directed the 3 Fear Street movies.
Hell yeah.
And as a whole, before we get into this specific one,
As a whole, the trilogy.
Yeah.
Oh, I loved it.
think-
Loved it. I saw some comments on Facebook. Someone said it was a snore fest.
actually they said they found the second one a Snorefest.
Yes, the second one they found hard.
Which is interesting because
much.
I preferred the second one to the first
I
one.
also preferred the second one.
But
Yes.
personal taste. That's how it goes.
I thought the second one was more exciting than the first one.
But also, like we mentioned, it backtracks.
Yes.
First one 1994, second one 1978, last one 1666. Whereas it wouldn't have worked the other way around.
No, not
And
at
I
all.
think I'll probably get corrected. People will say I'm talking crap and there's something else. But I think that this method, sort of jumping back to tell I think that really came to fruition very well with David Lynch's Fire Walk with Me.
That's right.
The Twin Peaks movie. They made this TV series, and then they made the prequel movie afterwards. I think that's when it really, because it worked so well.
Yeah, and I think they open it up for themselves more. You almost limit yourself if you sort of go the other direction.
Yeah, but it's also, then you're just wide open, you can do whatever you like.
Exactly.
Whereas if Twin Peaks, they did the third series like 20 years later, which was also fantastic.
Fantastic.
But instead of making a movie just a follow-on from the actual series,
They went backwards.
giving you some background, and then you can dig into, you can just go crazy and create anything you want, basically. And that has been done to death now.
Yeah.
But it worked well for the Fear Street movies.
It worked brilliantly. You know. It was really exciting. I quite liked it when in the third one where we go back.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which we will talk about now.
Yes. 1666 starts, we basically go back where Sarah Fear is a young girl living in this little village where it's obviously immigrants, settlers,
Before we carry on, what I liked about it is they all have like sort of Irish accents, as opposed to, when they make a movie like that, everyone's already got these
Yes.
American Texan accents, whereas the American accent,
made it feel a little bit more authentic.
yeah.
And we basically, we're now set in 1666, and we with Sarah Fear, and they sort of, the movie starts off with them planning, all the youngsters planning on going to this, what we would probably have like a party in today's.
Like a rave. Instead of they give each other these berries that make them trippy.
They steal berries from the sort
widow.
of the widow, which is like the medicine woman.
Yeah, living out in the woods.
And these berries obviously are some kind of hallucinogenic.
And this is also when they go to get some of these berries, that's also where Sarah spots this book.
That's right, yeah.
Which
just kicks off the whole thing.
Yeah, and it's, sell your soul to the devil kind of laid out right there.
Yes.
But then they run off and they go party, and you obviously have these toxic males, as it would be called now. But you know, the entire Salem witch hunt, that was all just toxic male assholism. You know, men who can't handle their own.
Yeah, I think it was quite a clever depiction.
At this little party in the woods, Sarah meets
Samantha.
One
Oh no,
of her-
Hannah.
also
Hannah.
the characters in 1666. It's played by the cast from 1994.
That's right. So the character, as we know as Dina, from 1994, plays
Sarah.
And
her little brother is her brother.
Is a brother, and Samantha in 1994 is Hannah in 1666.
And the two of them, just like in the 90s, they get together, and it's extremely forbidden. It's
Obviously, you can imagine.
Very puritanical,
That's right.
overly religious.
Yeah, you're now sort of bringing the devil into the little town by not doing this, by kissing one another and.
Yeah, that is, well, but more than kissing one another. It was, again, with the adult theme of the thing, not for kids. You know, some going down on girl action going there. So
It was so little
no,
bit.
it's suggested, but
No.
it's, you know.
Yeah. If you don't know what it is, you're not
But-
gonna know. You're not
And
gonna
you know, obviously, superstition is huge. It goes hand in hand with the religious stupidity that these
Absolutely.
people are displaying in their day-to-day lives, and things happen as it does. There's sort of signs happening that something evil is lurking. That food starts rotting.
Yes, there's like insects in the flour, and the bread goes bad sort of prematurely, and the milk goes bad, and the fruit.
The sow eats its young piglets.
Which was quite gross.
Sonia doesn't like stuff where animals.
Wish they would just leave animals out of movies.
Yeah,
But you get a good sense of they build the tension really well, because you just know that the crap is going to come down on these two girls.
and it does.
Yes.
But we won't go into details.
No. We're going to give it away if we do.
But whereas we've been talking about the witch and the curse, blah blah blah, there are factors that naturally is not what you expected, and I think they handled it well.
Brilliantly.
How they turn some things round, and
Yes. 1666 basically boils down to, it is that fraction of time that Dina experiences when she goes back to put the hand with the rest of the body, and she gets this flashback. And that flashback is basically 1666.
Yeah. and you get to the bottom of lots of stuff which is not spelled out in the previous
There's
movies.
some excellent,
So there's some twists and some turns.
and they tie it up neatly, I think. All the
Yeah.
loose ends are tied up neatly.
But I'm not that big a fan of these kind of folk horror set in the 1600s movies. They're fine, they're cool. I mean, sometimes they're fantastic, but it's not my first choice.
No, I think if you've
So-
seen one, you've seen them all.
So I wasn't too keen to sit through an entire movie set in that period, which is cool because just over halfway through, I think, they jump back to 94, where they
Yes.
now carry on to try and
We
sort out
basically
this.
go back to 1994 and
Yeah.
all the loose ends get tied up. And it's not just a afterthought. It really, at the end of this movie, everything gets like neatly bundled up.
Very neatly.
Yes.
And one sequence, if you were a kid in the 80s and you watched the A-Team or MacGyver, the original MacGyver, you know, there's always the sequence where they...
The little montage.
of sorting shit out, and Nightmare on Elm Street, Nancy setting all these traps for Freddy. Exactly the same thing here in the mall, where they plan something. So they set up these traps to sort out the problem, which obviously doesn't work exactly.
It's
according
very
to plan.
reminiscent of that era, the montage,
And with that montage, they play the Offsprings come out and play.
which was fabulous. And I forgot about the song. And I love the Offspring.
90s music. It was 90s, that song, eh?
It was.
Late.
No, it was mid to end of 90s.
Wow.
Yes.
The music is not, it's not loaded with songs like the first two movies.
No, obviously, because most of the movie is set in 1666.
Yeah, so it's cut down drastically. You've got like a couple of Pixie songs, Bone Thugs and Harmony, the Offspring songs. That's about the extent of it. And then obviously Marco Beltrami's soundtrack,
which was brilliant.
Yeah. And Marco Beltrami on this one, he worked with Marcus Trump again, and Anna Drubic as well. And we'll chat about the full soundtrack in another chapter. But we don't want to elaborate too much on this, because it wraps up the whole thing.
That's right, and it's easy to give twists away.
Yeah, we don't want to give away anything. But if you watch the first two, watch the third one, don't skip it.
No.
if the first two bored you, then at least, you know, you're 2/3 into it.
Yeah, you might as well. You've invested the time.
Go all the way. So when we score it, I was thinking, you know, I don't want to overscore it because it's part of a whole. But I think a fair score for me would be a 6.
I scored it a 7 because it really wrapped up the 3 parts very concisely. And I enjoyed it. I really enjoyed it. And they also they left like a little bit of an opening for maybe some more.
But with so many of those Fear Street books, and I don't know if
they'd have to.
If they all link, if it's just loads of different characters, but it's just under the Fear Street moniker, I'm not sure. They can I'll probably do a series that'll last forever.
Yes, definitely.
You know, like they've done with even Archie Andrews and guys with the Riverdale show that I haven't seen a single episode.
No, me neither.
But, you know, you can turn anything into a series.
My sense is, though, that these 3 movies will be popular.
No, it is already. It's going to have haters, and but that's what makes it fun. You know, you can go stream it whenever you like. You don't have to go down to the video store and rent it and be pissed off that you took out a bad deal.
That's right.
So if you don't like it, you can just stop. But I think it's worth watching. But I would think to rate it as a whole, all 3 of them, we've rated them all separately now, all different scores. But if I had to take this now as one
thing,
movie chunk, I'd probably give it like a 7.5.
No, me too. Me too.
Exactly 7.5.
No, 7. I would give it a 7.
Okay. We can't go 7.25 average. So then we'll just level it out to, we'll give it the benefit of the doubt and make it a 7.5 instead of drop mine down to a 7.
Yeah, makes sense.
As a whole, so that's not a bad score. Yeah, and someone will say it's a load of bubblegum crap.
No, we're just trying to think of the majority of people in the sense of it's not for kids, it's for older people.
And it's also not for everyone.
And it's not for everyone, but I think it's pretty...
It's fun.
It's pretty neat.
And it was a cool, like we mentioned before, was a cool Friday night as a release. So I mean, now they're all on Netflix, so you can watch them whenever you want. In one go, spread them out.
I wouldn't watch them in one go.
Leave us your comments, tell us if you agree with us, if you disagree, if you loved it, hated it, what else you're looking forward to, what other TV shows you like, or other movies you like, and what you want us to look at. Yeah,
and the people that's already commented, we appreciate it. We enjoy reading your comments.
And if you haven't yet, please subscribe, comment, again, like. We'll see you next time.
Bye-bye.